go. Multiple technologies came out of World War I, but today we'll only cover 4 of them. There was poison gas, which should be self-explanatory. It was gas that poisoned enemy soldiers. This led to the invention of the gas mask, which prevented troops from getting poisoned in the first place. Next were tanks. At the time, they were pretty much a giant walking machine gun, but they didn't work well on terrain, so they weren't very effective. Another technology was the plane. The plane was used for a couple of purposes. They could be used to look inside enemy trenches, and some pilots threw grenades into the trenches. There were also dogfights, which was like a fight on the ground, but with airplanes. The last technology I'll tell you about is the artillery. Artillery was a monster. It fired shots that are bigger than your head and made a giant explosion. Now, you might wonder, how did these technologies first affect the war?
These new technologies caused multiple deaths in the war. World War I had an astounding death toll of 38 million. These new technologies made the war so much more deadly. Now you could shoot down the enemy 3 times faster. Even civilians weren't safe from the chaos. There were about 7 million deaths. Trench warfare made the war even more complex, forcing people to use new technologies like poison gas and artillery. Because of all the new technologies, the war had a much higher mortality rate.
When the Germans decided to build their trenches, they were planning on staying there for a while, so they used twigs to barricade the sides and made them more fancy. When the British decided to make theirs, they just dug a hole and really didn't barricade it out because they weren't planning to stay there that long. You also could get trench foot during the war, and that disease caused a lot of deaths. The women had to start working at factories because all the men were out at war. They had to make things like cars and things for the war since the men were over there.